in between all of that stuff going on, I was also working in mental health for 10 years. And that's when I really started to enjoy finding out about human behavior, what makes us behave in a certain way, understanding shame. And as a result of that, I did a lot of work on ego, like I call it the child ego, but this ego state that we're all born with immediately. That's very, very needy. You know, babies have it. They need their soothes immediately met. And I talk about the ego, the child ego, a lot in my work, because in terms of performative allyship, I see it functioning a lot in anti-racism, and it's much more about perception and being seen to be looking good, doing a certain thing, not looking bad, feeling good, rather than actually there's an issue here, the harm has happened, and what can I do to help reduce the harm, including looking at my own behaviours. So performative allyship, as far as I'm concerned, and I know I've gone around the long way.
No, it's good.
Performative allyship, as far as I'm concerned, is not allyship, it's racism, because it's more about looking a certain way than actually meaningfully, consistently addressing racism and our part in that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've said so many things there that resonate. You know, thank you for taking us through that amazing journey as to how you've ended up here today. You know, all that's this things you were talking about when you were a young black girl, what happened to you on the street, you know, all of these issues that have made you where you are today. But I know in the book, when you're talking about performative allyship, when all the things happened with George and Breonna and Aubrey, and the amount of people who went through that process of standing by you, and they've, where are they?
I mean, I wouldn't call it standing by me. They were wanting to use me as a pawn and align themselves with me to make themselves look less racist. Yeah. And there was so much. I actually started writing the book. I started writing The Good Ally in 2018. I was headhunted. I was doing one of these workshops on race inclusion, and one of the people in the audience happened to be a literary agent. And she approached me afterwards and said, "Have you ever thought about turning your workshop into a book?" And I said, "I can't think of anything more dull." Absolutely not, no way. And she was persistent, and I was patient. And you know, months passed. I was busy doing TED Talks. You know, I had other things going on in my life and my world, and I'd never thought about being a writer because I never really saw black authors anywhere. It never was something. I was writing. I was doing journalistic writing. I write for Vogue. I write for magazines and newspapers. I was doing that anyway because of the blogging. But to me, that was it was different, even though if you're a writer, you're a writer. And so I wrote something, and she said, "Send it to me when you've written something." And I took my time and I wrote something, and she said, "This is amazing." She came back within almost 24 hours, which is unheard of for a literary agent. They usually take months. And she said, "This is amazing. I think we can get you a deal." So in 2019, early 2019, I had a lot of interest from 3 top publishers.
Wow.
But they all kept coming back like, "We love Nova, you know, her writing's great, but you know what? We don't quite think there's a market." Then roll on 2020 and publishers are scrambling around. They're asking people to write anti-racism books in 9 days. I kid you not. Totally capitalizing on it, tokenizing people, and then also giving, you know, people like me and others the opportunity who was already in this work, like, okay, finally now you're paying attention. I can't tell you how many agents and publishers I was approached by in that week when George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd was public. I can't tell you the number of publishers and agents who were emailing me saying, can we offer you this? Can you offer that? I've already got an agent. I've been writing for 2 years and nobody was really interested. So it was very performative, and it's much more about, how can I align myself to what's trendy right now? Or how can I alleviate the guilt that I'm feeling from my proximity to all of this horror that is unraveling at the hands of white supremacy, and distance myself from it? Who do I know that's black? People jumping into my WhatsApps who I haven't spoken to in years. like excavating their racism. Oh, you know, and I heard someone call this person at work the N-word and I didn't say anything. All of this stuff was happening and they had completely forgotten in that moment, one, that I'm a human being, and two, that I'm a black woman, and I'm not immune to the stuff that's going on in the world. And they were so busy trying to align themselves with me, not one of them asked me, you know what, Nova, I'm aware of what's going on in the world. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And that's the racism.
Yeah. And that's the performative ally, isn't it? You know, it's about how do I look rather than what am I actually doing for the change.
How can I be of service?
Yeah, absolutely.